What do you think about people only want to talk about the Boston Celtics? Because it feels like it's all the coverage they get. Coming into the series, the Miami Heat were given a 3% chance to win, according to ESPN's very poor analytics. And even after going up 2-0, the Heat are still just being given a 35% chance of moving on to the NBA Finals. Given they're in this position in the NBA bubble and won this series in 6 games, how do you feel? Do you think the Miami Heat are still being overlooked?
100% being overlooked. Listen, the coverage from my Heat has been criminally unfair. Also, just due to the fact of where we've come and what we are doing right now, I think it's being criminally unfair. And I have a feeling in years to come, if the Heat get all the way through a right and they become this historic team, which they will go down as a historic team if it does happen. I feel like years later, people are going to be talking like, "Oh man, that Miami Heat team was different," even though they weren't talking about them when it was actually happening, right? And it's that revisionist history. It's been unfair. If you watch the mainstream media, ESPN, Fox Sports One, whatever the case may be, Miami Heat are kind of the afterthoughts. They talk about first off, they talk about the Lakers, right? Then they talk about Lakers Nuggets. Then they'll talk about the Celtics. Then, if there's time, they talk about the Miami Heat. And even that, they're doing like 4 Lakers subjects before they even sniff the Miami Heat Boston Celtics series. So it's a thing I've had to deal with for my entire life as being a Heat fan. It's a thing I've had to deal with being a Patriots fan, even though we were the most dominant team possibly in sports history. We didn't get that much coverage. We didn't, and I think it has to do with something along the lines of we don't really talk that much. We don't give that much material out there. We just go out there and we do our jobs, and that is something that you can kind of look at as a comparison between the Heat and the Patriots. They are very head down, focused, tunnel visioned. But enough on that. Now let's get to the series. Celtics fans, where you at? Huh? All right. We just went into Boston. I said we were going to win game 1, right? I called that. But I gave Boston the respect and objectively said Boston's going to take game 2. We did something that shocked me because I didn't expect this. It didn't look good at certain points, especially late, even into the fourth quarter when we were down about 9 to 11 points, varying.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to.
You're down, by the way, by double digits in 2 separate parts in the first quarter and the second half.
Yeah, and we'll get to the straw that broke the camel's back, if you want to say the play that kind of sprung what happened later. But yeah, Boston made me a liar, and I thank you for that because now Miami Heat are up 2-0. I went into this game, John, with the mindset of prepare for the worst, hope for the best, right? I was preparing for us to take the L, Boston Celtics fans to be very happy, and us to be going back to Miami, and me just to be saying on this show, listen, of course Boston won a game at home. You better win a freaking game at home. Miami, the way I would have saw it if we split was we won because we split at your house. You were supposed to defend home court and you didn't. So, and that didn't happen. We took both games, and now I'm hearing some Celtics fans say, oh, Boston won 3 games in Miami last year. Let me tell you this right now.
We do not care.
I don't care. You done did let us get greedy by taking 2 games in your house. This series is most likely over. And I say that because of this. If Boston doesn't win both games in Miami, 3 and 4, you're done. You're done. You're not coming back 3-1. You're not. It's not happening.
This
Okay.
isn't Joel Embiid and James Harden you're up against.
No,
This
this
is
is
Jimmy
not.
Butler
This is
and
Jimmy
Chris
Butler. You just saw it firsthand in game 2. Okay. Both teams are insanely different from the bubble and from last year. We don't have PJ Tucker. We don't have Tyler Hero. We don't have Oladipo. We don't have these guys and that guys. You guys, you have Brogdon now. Ime's not there. Mazzulla's the head coach. So many things are different between. I mean, Marcus Smart for me, John. He was
overrated.
no, he was great in game 1. But in game 2, he was a complete and total non-factor.
Was he out there? I didn't even see him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I tweeted that. I was like, there are times where I literally forgot Marcus Smart was even playing in the game. Like in game 1, he was I think he had double digits assists, or he was right there.
No turnovers.
Yeah. And I was like, and he was making passes, the no-look passes, the pretty passes and stuff. In game 2, you saw none of that. You saw none of that Defensive Player of the Year award that he has on his trophy case. You saw none of that. Maybe he's injured because he did go to the locker room late in game 1. Maybe he's injured, but again, everybody's dealing with injuries. Go look at Jimmy Butler and he's doing his thing. But yeah, I don't know. And you spoke on it, Jalen Brown. I've been one of the biggest defenders of him. I'm starting to, and I've had these thoughts, John, in my head about Jalen, and I'm starting to understand Jalen Brown a little bit more. And I think we're going to get a full answer depending on what he does when his contract is up. And this is what I mean by that. If he re-signs with Boston, we all have, as a NBA community, have to stop asking him to be a Batman, because he clearly does not want to be. If he resigns with Boston, because if he does that, that is an indicator and showing us, I don't want to be the man. I like the role as the second man, being the Robin, and Jayson Tatum getting all the pressure and all the credit and stuff on him. If he leaves Boston, then we can start having those conversations again about, okay, Jalen, can you be a number 1 and stuff? But I got to be honest, I don't think he's going to leave Boston now. I'm starting to see a lot of body language where it's like, I'm more of a deferrer to Jayson, and I want Jayson to take that. So I'm starting to kind of come back on me really ever saying, Jalen, I want you to be more aggressive. I want you to demand more. I want you to be more of a Batman. I'm starting to come back on that and being like, maybe that's just not him. And that's fine. That's not a knock. Paul George is the perfect Robin, and he's made a very damn good career out of it. There's no knock on it. It's just now we're just coming more to it. For me, I'm coming to more of an understanding of Jaylen Brown and what he really is as a NBA basketball player. And that's perfectly fine being a Robin. Now that we know, we can critique him or give him credit accordingly now. Now we don't have to, be like, Jalen, why don't you just take the more shot? Like, he doesn't want that. He doesn't want that responsibility. It's on Jayson Tatum. Now, speaking of Jayson Tatum.
To build off your Jaylen Brown point real quick,
yes.
I think we're kind of seeing the reason why he doesn't want to be the man. It's because he's not the man. Jaylen Brown's in the perfect role right now as a secondary scorer, but as a playmaker, his feel lacks far behind. And so far through 2 games, you can see that, dude, like, I'm not that guy. He's 2 of 13 from 3-point range. There's really just too much variance to the other things he does. And where Jayson Tatum can shoot 3 of 13 from the field and impact the game everywhere else, I don't think Jaylen Brown can.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. And on Jayson Tatum, I'm not saying the full blame's on him. I know Celtics fans are, they're like, oh, we got to protect Jayson Tatum at all costs. But there's just no getting around the point that he has not made any field goals in the fourth quarter. There's not getting around the point that he didn't make a field goal in game 2 and had 2 or 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter. You might not want to say he's the main problem, but if you're not the solution, John, then you're part of the problem. And that's all I got to say about Jayson Tatum.
I can't say he's been the issue though, Brandon.
But no, wait, John. Hear what I'm saying. Really hear what I'm saying. If you're not the solution, then you're part of the problem. I'm not saying he is the main problem. I'm not saying he is the problem. I'm saying you're part of it. This is a team, right? At the end of the day, it is a team. It's less than football and basketball. One guy can take over a game for you, but it is a team sport at the end of the day. So and correct me if I'm mistaken. The game was close against Miami in game 2, right? There were chances for him to take over like he did in, what was it, game 6 when he was having a shit 3 quarters and then came out and was making hella shots.
Yeah.
And he didn't. So like I'm saying, it's not that he is the problem. It's that if you're not the solution as the best player, then you're part of the problem.
Right. He was 0 of 3, all on 3-pointers in game 2 in the fourth quarter. But my thing is that in running the offense, he's getting to the foul line. Like, has he made a field goal through 2 fourth quarters? No. But he also has 11 points because he's perfect at the charity stripe. He's playmaking. And a lot of his shooters, like Jalen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Grant Williams actually showed up. He was 3 of 5 in the fourth quarter. He was the only one to make shots. The Heat are going to pressure Tatum and get the ball out of his hands with that zone defense especially. And while Tatum had a couple of bad reads, couple of poor decisions, which is a little bit more consistent, he's a robotic decision maker, I think altogether what the Boston Celtics need to get back in this series is guys like Jalen Brown to play as the second or third best player on the floor. If he's the fourth or the fifth, where Caleb Martin is outplaying him, the Celtics won't win. Jayson Tatum had 30 points, really good playmaking game. Defensively, I think you could have done more off the ball, but at the end of the day, if Caleb Martin outscores Jalen Brown, you're going to lose.
Yeah, no, that's not a recipe for success at all. Now let's go to the thing that everybody's talking about game 2, right? So we talked about it too after game 1. We were befuzzled by why Peyton Pritchard was getting playing time over Grant Williams. And I said firmly, there's no way Joe Mazzulla didn't see that as a problem, and he's not going to fix in game 2. And he did. Peyton Pritchard was out. Grant Williams was in. Now, Grant Williams, for what he did, obviously, right, he was actually very effective when he was in the game. He was making the shots. He was making good plays, some good passes. And he is a very good defender. And he will fight you. And like you saw, he'll get in your face. And he is one of those guys. He's a rough rider. And you heard all the NBA analysts, the former players all saying it, the inside of the NBA crew saying, we got no problem with Grant Williams doing what he's doing. He's competing out there. He's like you said too, he's the only one that seemed like he was willing to go at it. Like, I'm not going to back down from you. And I respect the hell out of that. But what's crazy is 96-87. That was the score of the game in the fourth quarter. When Grant Williams, how I described it, decided to bathe himself in honey, go out in the woods, and poke the bear. Not just any bear. A freaking grizzly bear. A bear you do not want to poke. A giant you do not want to awaken. No. When he made that 3-pointer shot, and he was going back up the court, and he said, I don't know what he said to Jimmy, but you saw Jimmy's instant reaction was just a little smirk like, okay. And then instantly what he said, give me the ball. Give me the ball. Backed him down, made a shot, tough shot. All of his shots over Grant were tough because, like I said, Grant Williams is a very good defender. But like I said, you awoken something inside of Jimmy. And my mindset going into late into that game was, shit, Jimmy looks a little tired. He looks a little fatigued. He looks like he's trying to find that next year, like he's trying to dig deep. And what I said to myself was, when Grant Williams did that, was, after the fact, Jimmy didn't have to dig any deeper because Grant Williams, you brought it out of him.